Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara,
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
and we are back today for another recap of Raising Kanan. This is the season 4 finale episode. Give me the weight. Man, we got a lot to talk about with this one. But before we do, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click that notification bell. Also, follow us on all of our social media platforms at the Spot Real Talk, and spread the word to your friends and family about us. Help them to come and get on the train with us because we got a hot show for y'all today. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this episode. Finale, we had a lot of predictions about the way we thought things were going to go and who was going to die and who was not going to die.
Right.
And I think we might be a little bit off. First of all, one of the things that we thought would happen was Jukebox would maybe withhold some of this information about Crystal until she got a firm lead on who was behind it. Nope. She came straight out with it.
No. Because remember I told you that Ron said he thought she should wait. And I was like, I don't think she should wait.
I thought she should have waited because exactly the response that we thought Kanan was going to have is what he did. And I was like, it didn't help anybody in that situation for him to know without having a culprit behind who did it. Because
she didn't know. I mean,
of course she didn't know,
but she did hint to Snaps and Pops, because she said, they always get, I forget how
they always have an angle.
They always have an angle. So she was kind of on that line to say, let's look elsewhere, like at those two. And of course, it didn't resonate with Kanan because he hates his mother. So,
yeah, I just think that it was a big mistake. But the thing with Jukebox is even she's having her doubts now. Because we seen the way that she went and approached Rock, and she was telling her that Kanan suspects her of killing Famous and Crystal, and now she was basically suggesting that she kind of believes it too. And Rock was like, "You better watch your mouth, or you say something you can't take back."
Yeah.
But Juke spoke her piece and was like, I've been watching you for a minute. Whether you seen me or not, I seen you.
I see you.
Yeah. And so I think that a lot of Rock's decisions, some of her actions, they're all coming back to bite her because now there's a deep, deep mistrust amongst her relatives, even the people so it's like you can't deal with people that you don't trust. And when something comes up and things are in question, you start looking shady. And so it's like, I can't blame them for being suspicious of her.
But if you tell a lie long enough, soon it will, people begin to believe it. And I think that's the problem with Jukebox, because she's been listening to Kanan, and Kanan has been spreading that disease all over, all day, all night about her mom, about his mom. And now Jukebox is taking a step back and saying, okay, maybe this is true. But if she spent more time talking to Rock about it, it's because Rock, like Rock said, what reason would I have to want to kill this woman? And she's had plenty of opportunities to do so if she wanted her dead. So, and of course, Kanan is all over the place with his imagination. So, while I understand Jukebox's kind of moment of insecurity and understanding what Rock really is capable of, but I thought she was on the right track until she got more of Kanan's lies.
I mean, I wouldn't look at it as lies because it's the truth as he sees it. It's like it's a lie is deliberate. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like he knows that's not the truth and he's going about it that way. He really believes it. He believes he's capable of it. And think about it. The reason why Juke got on that path is because Garcia, with his non-detecting tale, he went and told her that a black woman was being seen and stuff.
And so told Kanan the same thing. And I'm like, he's going around spreading gossip.
He didn't describe the woman. All he said was black woman. That's how they did. So we all look alike. So He heard that, Juke heard that, and just like, oh shoot, then maybe it could be. And then when you think about, and we know Kanan is wrong, but Kanan and Sasha Penn is doing interviews now about this last episode. He was like, yeah, he's dumb. He's 17. He's 17. Okay. So he does not have the wisdom. And Rock has a track record.
Okay.
She killed his father in front of him.
I agree with all that, but first of all, truth is fact, not subjective. Well, right. It's not subjective or I can't get the word out of my mouth. But it's not supposed. It is fact. In other words, either truth is or it isn't. You know that in logic. When you take a logic course, you can prove truth. Truth is or it isn't. It can't be my truth, your truth, their truth. It has to be truth. So if you're not speaking the truth, you're lying. And you may be lying in what we might say good faith because of what you've been through or what you know or what you think you know, but it doesn't make it a fact and it makes it untrue. And if it's not true, it's a lie.
And I think too about it from Kanan's perspective. You've now heard two different sources kind of tell you something that lines up. Snaps and Papa telling you it was Rock, and then Garcia, like you said, comes to says it was a black woman. And then it's like, okay, now I got two separate entities that have nothing to do with each other, and Kanan's mind telling me that this person lines up with being my mother. And so in his mind, it's made up. And like he told Juke, he's like, if you ain't with me, you against me at this point. And I think for Kanan, the thing that kind of made it a little bit, I don't know. I thought that the thing with Lou, like the conversation he had with Lou, might have changed his mind, because Lou owned up to killing D-Wiz, and all this time Kanan is thinking it's his mom. Yeah. He just got proved wrong from the horse's mouth. You hear it.
Perfect point.
And so I thought that he would have reconsidered, like, okay, maybe I need to think this over.
Exactly. No, I have a challenge to that. Lou made a mistake. Lou told him that Rock killed the grandmother too. I was like, Lou, why would you tell him that? Because to Kanan, to a kid, that's one more person she's taken away from me. Yeah. Like she took D-Wiz away.
That is one more.
So when Lou said that, I was like, "Ooh, Lou, I don't think that was a good idea."
Yeah, he should have just left it at D-Wiz.
He could have left it at D-Wiz. He could have owned it and stuff. But to say that to Kanan was like, because you heard what he said those last few moments to her. He was like, "No, you want to take away everybody from me so you can have me all to yourself." And in his mind, in his 17-year-old mind, that's what he thinks.
Yeah, it's true. And I was like, you making a good point, because that was crucial. That was a turning point. And I think that Lou was trying to do it to, reaffirm to him that Rock is solid. He was trying to say that she did what we couldn't do, what me and Marvin was too emotional or too afraid to do. Your mom put grandma out of her misery, and she didn't do it out of spite or out of malice. She did it because she didn't want to see her in pain anymore or whatever. But it's not registering the way Lou thought it would.
No, it doesn't, and it didn't resonate to him. And I agree to that. I felt the same way once I heard Lou say that. I thought,
I was like, I did, me too. I was like, Lou, like he already worked up. He already just told you that he thinks Rock killed his best friend.
Yep.
And you think the answer is to double down and tell him that Rock killed his grandmother?
But then again,
I knew he had good intentions.
But in Lou's defense, he did not realize the animosity he had toward his mother either. So no, he didn't know to that extent. Here's why. Because
Lou's been a little drunk though, Ron.
I know he's been drunk half the time anything is going on. But my point is, you always talk about Kanan being young and dumb. Lou is not young and he's not dumb. So I think if he actually knew how much, how visceral it was with Kanan and his mother, I don't think he would have said that. Or if he had said it, I think he would have probably said it a different way, because the way it came out was, we had compassion for mom. We couldn't kill our mother, but Rock came on in there and was like, "Give me the needle, I'll take her out." And okay, if you put it that way, then the young and dumb you know,
this is where I got different with you. He did know how visceral it was because Kanan said when he came in there, like, "What you doing? Getting back on her side or whatever and stuff, you know." And Lou said, "What are you doing talking to Unique? Unique is after all of our family."
Mm.
And what did Kanan say? Nah, he with everybody who's beside her. So
Yep.
he was still like doubling down, vouching for Unique. So that's what I'm saying. So if he's saying that and going against his mom, you know that it's visceral. So you don't say, like, I understand what Lou was trying to say. I knew what he meant and I understood it. But I was like, in that moment, I was just like, that was a mistake because that, he was the one taking his grandmother to the hospital and stuff, and he was the one that she confided in and all of that stuff. And you
Mm-hmm.
see, he was at her gravesite in the finale and stuff. So that's why I said, and so for him to tell her, he should have never told Kanan that.
but what about, because the only problem I have with what you're saying is that Kanan just, I mean, all day, every day it was hate, 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 and he had triggers, and everything you said about Rock would make him say something negative. And if Lou knew all that, then you would think that either he would have gotten to Rock and said, "Hey, we got to do something about Kanan because he's like one step from taking you out of here." But instead,
He
I
didn't
just can't
know.
believe.
He didn't know. I don't think he knew that he was on the verge of trying
But
to
that's what I
kill
was
his
saying
mom.
earlier. I don't think when I said, yes, he knew that Kanan had a dislike for his mother, but I don't think it was such a dislike that he was one step from taking her out.
I don't think nobody knew but Juke because
Yeah.
Juke is the closest to him. Like, I think they all know that he felt the way
Mm.
towards Rock because Marvin was saying all the time, like, "You gonna let this boy talk to you like that?" So
Yeah.
Marvin, so they saw it, but I think they thought he was being like a rebellious teenage boy. I don't think they knew that it had crossed over to the point that he like, "Oh, she gotta go." And,
Yeah.
and Juke knew that. That's why Juke in that moment when you saw when he said we left, she was on the phone calling who? I don't know. I don't know if she tried to call Marv or call Uncle Lou or call somebody to intervene.
How about get on his ass and stop him instead of being on the phone? Here's my, because look, it's,
He raised the gun to
okay,
her.
Duke gets the hand. I don't care.
What?
Duke gets the
You give a
hand.
Duke bomb?
Nah, that ain't on Juke.
No,
He
that's what's going
raised
to
the
do.
gun to her face and said, "You're either
But
with me or against
he
me."
wasn't going to do nothing. And
What,
Duke,
what are you talking about? In
look,
that
look,
moment,
Duke got skills. She could have taken that gun from him and beaten him with it if she wanted to.
I don't know, Ron. I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
On
Because
my
she looked
hands
like
list.
she was shocked.
She
She
is
When he
on
was.
came
my
back.
hands list, picking up her phones. And
Mm.
Rock probably never even got the message. So no, you got to run after him, get in front.
Well, see,
Go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead, T. Go
this
ahead.
is okay. So we talked about Kanan going to the gravesite to visit grandma, and he said something there that was like, "Oh, he for real." He said, "I'm about to do something
And that's
that you might not like, that I might need forgiveness for."
That might need forgiveness for that. I would say that was a clue right there.
Yeah. And
bigger.
so what does he goes over to Rock's house, like you said, they have this exchange, and the shot goes off, and then it's a black screen. So let's get to the big question. Do y'all think Rock is dead? Did Kanan shoot her? Or did Jukebox try to call Rock, not get through, and run over to the house to intervene or get somebody else to intervene? And maybe
That was my thought. But I told y'all offline when my son said, when we watched it, I was like, I think Jukebox either sent Marv over there or she went herself and she fired the shot. My son said, nah, Kanan popped her ass. so so I don't know. And then the interviews and stuff that I'm seeing is looking like she left the show.
I think she eventually will leave the show. I think that her time on the show, everybody's time, I think next season is going to be
Next
a lot of deaths.
Here-
Everybody out of here,
everybody.
here's my
except for
problem.
Kanan and Juke.
And here's my problem as a filmmaker. So you fade to black, and you do this for a reason because it's a cliffhanger. You want people to hang on their thoughts, which I hate. I understand the methodology. I accept the methodology, and I understand the methodology. But if she's gone, let her be gone. We should have seen that shot. Now, as far as Juke, um, getting to somebody. Well, think about the call. You first have to make the call to Marvin, then you have to explain to Marvin what's going on. And then by the time Marvin actually gets it and gets in the car to try to intercept things, she's dead. As your son said, she got capped. So,
I don't think she called Marvin. Marvin was too busy getting shot at anyway.
yeah, exactly. And Marvin was in his own gunfight. So I just think if I'm going to believe that she's not dead, I believe he may have hit her. I don't believe it's critical. Or if it is critical,
I believe it.
He was close though, Ron.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it was critical. I
well,
believe it.
what I believe is if it, I think next season would open up with her in the hospital, clinging to life.
Yeah, I think they showed the first episode of next season. They're going to show us exactly how it went down.
Yeah,
that's what I think, and I think you might even remember when Angela got killed in Power, OG Power. You know, it was the season finale of season 5, so we knew that she got shot, but we didn't know whether she lived or died until that first episode in season 6, and we found out she died.
Yeah, so that probably is the formula that they're gonna try to use for
y'all,
this.
excuse me, I have allergies like nobody's business. Wiping away. Look, man, it's all I can do. Hang in here. So,
it's all right, Ron.
Just letting you know. Okay.
But I want to know from you guys, like, do you think they've announced already that next season is going to be the last, and so with that, it's kind of anticipated that we're going to get the makings of Juke and Kanan and how they became so ruthless. We're kind of seeing tidbits here and there, but you have to truly turn into a monster to end up the way they did. Mm-hmm. And we kind of see that. I think it was mentioned in OG Power that like all of the relatives were dead, that they didn't really have any surviving relatives. So I'm like, that must mean everybody going next season.
Well, I feel like this because remember when Kanan died, season 5 of OG Power, there was no one to reclaim his remains. But it doesn't mean that everybody's going to die. Some people could be locked up.
That's true too.
Because I'm thinking, and we talked about this too. I guess a possibility that some people are going to die, but some people may end up in the Bing doing life.
That's true too. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Ron, your thoughts?
Well, I think Marvin might go around mid-season. I think around episode 5. I think Marvin will probably go. No, I'm sorry. I think Lou will go, and Marvin will be arrested. And somewhere around that time, we'll probably get the word that Rock didn't survive her injuries.
Well, did y'all hear how they were kind of talking about Marvin this episode, especially with Jukebox and her kind of getting the music teacher? She came back and she was checking on Aisha and Jukebox, and she was asking, and she was saying, Juke, you seem different or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Aisha and Jukebox kind of had their little moment together. And Aisha was saying, oh, well, maybe you should come back to Spelman or whatever. And Juke is like, nah, I realized that I need to be here in New York. My father's here, and he's made a lot of changes for me. I need to be here to support him. We know that ultimately Juke does leave New York.
Yes.
And so could that have been spurred by something that happened to Marvin? Like, I don't have a reason to stay in New York if my father is gone.
That's what I think.
And I think Marvin's going to die.
Well, if he's in jail for life for murder, which could give him a life sentence, then there's no reason for her to be around. So, and of course, he's left enough trails and body to possibly have that, I think with Lou, because Lou jumping in or jumping back in with Rock, and he doesn't seem to care about what might happen to him. He's just in it. And he's willing to just go willy-nilly with her. I thought that was a real bad move to go visit Unique and in his camp. That just didn't that wasn't a smart move to me, because she
was trying to talk reason. She was letting him know what was coming. Like, hey, stay away from my son, family's off limits. And like
see,
like Ghost said about Breeze, gave him one more chance. And when he started running his mouth, what he did, which he showed, man, the way he ran his mouth, I was like, shoot him now, Rock.
This is what I'm saying. If so, here we got Neek surviving that, like you said, I was waiting for Lou or Rock, somebody to pull something out.
Well, they got his baby, and they got and that's what's going to happen next season.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, it will be.
I think the disrespect that Unique showed too, like just talking all that stuff about, his involvement with Rock and how he was, she like it rough, and just going into detail and stuff with Lou. I think he was like, nah, bruh.
You ain't gonna survive.
You got something coming.
Yeah. So, I think Unique's gonna go too. In fact,
he's gonna go.
Definitely.
He's gonna go in season 5. Season 5, his time is up.
Time is up. Yeah. And so like that's the other thing with Pernessa and the baby being snatched up, that ups the stakes. So, Unique can't say that you weren't warned. You can't say nothing. You asked for this, you getting what you asked for.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like they're doing this tit for tat thing. Unique is burning up all the Asian stores and whatnot. And it's like, okay, they're basically in a battle to see who can hit who first. And Rock hit in a hard way when it comes to family. So I know next season is going to be crazy in their war, because we've also got this situation going on with Stefano and Phil.
That's all they say. See, that's what's all this stuff, they're Unique and rocking and going back and forth, and they were being puppeteered by the Italians
the whole time. And so Unique tried to get in good with Teresa, and he goes telling his sob story to her, and she promises to kind of intervene and step on Phil's neck about it. And so what does Phil do? But Stefano put Phil up to killing Teresa's husband. And so it was like, okay, you want retribution, but I'm the guy that did it. No, so what do you
Yeah, no, you mean Russo. It was Russo's idea to kill Stefano. Yeah, Stefano made the call or whatever stuff, but Russo did it to steal his spot.
Right.
So he was the one behind it.
That's what I meant. And so it's like, you asking for retribution, but I'm the man that's really behind the act. And he goes and stabs up.
I didn't even know two of them were like that, though. I thought they were,
that was the ruse. Yeah. That was the ruse. So they can hide behind and have the black folks fighting for them.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And that's what they said. Did you hear him on the bench? He was like, these Mulianos and stuff, like, yeah, that was the plan. We beefing. They ain't really beefing. They had a plan behind the scenes and stuff. But Stefano, he went that way with Stefano because Stefano was like, no, I'm about to speak up and say who was really behind.
Yep. Right. Yeah. And so the fact that Stefano gets stabbed, but it's revealed that he's clinging to life. He's not actually dead. Phil was like, I made a move and I wasn't successful. It's basically what he told Unique. And so he was like, do what you got to do. And, the thing about that is, Stefano, if he lives to next season, all hell's going to break loose. Yeah. All hell. Because he knows who did it to him. So it's like, I'm coming back for your neck.
Yep.
And then that kind of puts Rock and Unique back in the crossfires, obviously, because they are associated.
And if Unique was smart, he let them kill off each other. I wouldn't get involved. I would sit back and let the fireworks begin.
Well,
he can be caught up. Phil and his boys can kill Unique. And if he's not careful.
Well, ultimately, I think Unique gonna be on snaps and pops. You see,
they on some other time.
You see, they trying to build their super team. They trying to come together like the Avengers, Snap and Pop, and Kanan and Unique, and then
Breeze.
Yeah, before we get there,
I don't want to go too fast on that.
No, I just want to say about the situation with the Italians and with Rock and them. Like, Rock was, unbeknownst to Unique, she was already toast before he started hitting up the Asian shops. Yeah. The Asians ain't want to work with her. Stefano said he was done with her. He had washed his hands. Yeah. And so if they would have just let that play out, Rock would have been down and out.
Yeah. And if she survives, if she's truly dead, alive, then she's probably not gonna have nothing to no one to work with anyway. She still has outfees the guy she gets away from, but she has no way to move it.
Exactly. And I thought the guy's story, but the Chinese mythology was interesting because he was talking about a monster that can't see itself and doesn't know it's a monster. And he was like, that's why I don't want to work with you. And I was like, dang, Rock, people keep telling you this and it's not registering.
No, she looked in the mirror when she heard that allegory because you saw that look on her face.
Yeah.
That look on her face was like, right.
She knew he was talking about her.
But
Yeah.
and the sad part about it is, okay, so she doesn't have Kanan. She now lost Marvin because of that argument that they had.
Oh, please talk about that.
Rock,
she know how to make you feel like you 2 inches tall.
She put it down on Marvin. And, I was surprised. I didn't know if some fists were going to start flying or what, but I have to give Marvin credit for trying to keep his cool over that. But she really rocked him.
Yeah. And then he still defended her when he was talking to Juke.
Thank you. I was going to say that. But she get it from her mama, though, because the mama was talking to Marvin like that.
Yeah.
So it gives you a glimpse of how it must have been for him growing up, because she was like, the mom was like, sorry, Marvin. Da, da, da. And when Rock started going off on him like that, it reminded me of the mom. And I was just like, that's probably something he had to deal with all his life.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he took that job with Stefano and didn't tell her, so he can have something to himself. So he had to worry about somebody berating him, talking to him crazy.
But then Stefano double crosses him. So it just seems like that's either in his character or I don't know. People just see something about Marvin that they think they can run over, and he's not the type. I mean,
at all. I mean, you see that with the way he dealt with Early and his boy. And took their food.
Right, into their food. But you know what? He's more emotional. Whereas like Lou has feelings and stuff too, but you don't see, like, Lou won't flinch. Like, even when Unique was standing there talking crazy and saying all this stuff about Rock, he was looking like, and what, and even when he went to see Kenyatta and them and they was talking crazy, he looked, he never gives. And if you notice at the very beginning of the episode, when Kanan was going off and tearing up the house and stuff, when he found out about Crystal, he was like, first lesson about controlling emotions and stuff, because he didn't have control of his emotions. If you think about OG Power, we never saw Kanan get like worked up like how Kanan is. Like, we saw him mad, we saw him kill people and stuff, but he was like, his demeanor was more like Lou.
Yeah, he definitely matured into that.
Yeah, he grew into that. I mean, he would kill people, of course. I mean, he was ruthless like Marvin and stuff like that. But as far as seeing, he wouldn't give you nothing. Where
Sean, I mean, I particularly remember how he talked to his son.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. He just did not like Sean for any number of reasons, but one did because Sean didn't want to follow him. But
he thought he was weak. That's what he. And he was mad at Sean because he felt like Sean chose Ghost.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look what Ghost was giving him versus what he was giving him. So that was the only time I think I would say Kanan, and of course the fight that he had with Ghost that cost his life. But those are the only two times I would think Kanan kind of lost it. But
oh yeah, I mean, he would still fight and do whatever and stuff. But as far as still like totally losing control, even in his speech and stuff, it wasn't like. It was more like Lou, like you don't know where Lou stands. And then we would see, like, he would say whatever to Sean or Ghost or whatever and stuff, say something slick. And then he would turn his back and then he would smirk, like when he was doing something sneaky and stuff. Like, he would be, so he was more, he grew into being more measured in his response, unless he wanted something intentionally to go that way. Like when he wrote that.
Right.
Yeah. So Kanan definitely is still very, very like unpredictable, and I think that he got this basically this notion to go to Snaps and Pops and confront them again about this crystal thing, and they were like, you making it hot, like we're not gonna keep pushing the police, like it's too much. But they, like you said, introduced the idea of teaming up with Unique and teaming up with their nephew. So they get this introduction set up. And in comes Shamik Moore, who is playing Breeze. So the big reveal of Breeze, we finally got to see who is actually gonna play him. I think that casting was perfect. Like, I think he's gonna make a great Breeze. But he came in. He's been upstate, or I think East New York, and they were saying that he's coming back in, and he and Kanan are so alike, and they're thinking, and that they think that they would get along real well. But this is basically just the introduction. No need for long dragged out conversations. Just put eyes on each other. And it looked like it was, a good match. Kanan was kind of like eyeing him, like, okay, I see you, Breeze, doing the same thing. And I'm like, all right, here we go. This is the makings of Kanan as we knew him.
Mm-hmm. And the makings of Ghost and Tommy. Because if we see Breeze, we know Ghost and Tommy is coming, because Breeze was the one who gave Ghost his name.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see that in episode 5.
Yes, I think before the end of 5. I think that's going to lead us right into Power Origins.
Yeah, because I was going to say there's another show.
Yeah, that's the Power Origins that's supposed to be about the Ghost and Tommy.
Yeah, so having Shamik Moore casted as Breeze, I think they take that and they start showing how he and Kanan and Tommy and Ghost worked together in the early days to upbuild their empire. And so I'm like, okay, well then this explains it. Like, I do like that Power, usually I don't like prequels. Mm-hmm. Usually they suck. But Power and the whole Power universe has done a fantastic job at giving us these outstanding prequels. And even though we know the outcome, just seeing how it all happened, how everybody became who they are, it's really, they do it in a very captivating way.
Yes.
The shows are mutually exclusive. So while there's uniformity in the show, but they're exclusive amongst themselves. They have their own individuality, and I think that's what we can glean to, because when we watch it, I'm not watching it to see Ghost or compare it to Ghost. In fact, oddly enough, I don't even see Kanan as the Kanan we've come to know in Ghost.
Not yet.
While we know it is him, but I recognize and I see Kanan for what he is, as you say all the time, Tiff, a 17-year-old inexperienced, and I'm more in line with what Snaps and Pop says. He's an intelligent young man, and he seems to know what he's.
I think he's that too, though. Yeah, but he's immature. So when you're a kid, you do kid things.
Yeah.
Maturity don't go together though.
He's also real gullible too right now.
Yeah, I think he's more of that. Yeah,
because it seemed like they just be stroking his ego. Oh, Rock, she's this and that, and we think that you are better than her. You're the new wave. You the this.
Divide and conquer. That's how people. Because he's young, he's able to.
Well, I think there are some people that feed off that. That's their love language, and I mean, Unique did the same thing to him. So it looks like that we now know what Kanan's love language is. All you got.
Well, Kanan did it to Tariq.
Yeah,
that's what I said. So where do you think he learned all that from? He taken all the lessons. Yeah. He learned how to play dead from Unique. And that's why he was drawn to Tariq. He saw Tariq was making the same dumb mistakes. Yeah, we saw it, and he was drawn to Tariq. And then he saw that Tariq also at the time hated ghosts, and he said, "Oh." Now we see that at one point Kanan hated
Let me start telling you about your dad.
So let me tell you about let me tell you. So he did the same thing that Snaps and Pop and Unique and everybody did to Tariq.
Yeah. And that's why I say this show is so masterful, because all that stuff that we seen in OG Power is coming right back, but in a real different way that's not totally predictable.
Yeah. Remember the scene when Kanan and OG Power when he murked the old lady and he took the apartment, but the apartment, gonna find out that apartment used to belong to Breeze or Breeze's grandmother or whatever and stuff. And he said, "I'm going to give Ghost a history lesson."
Yep, I remember.
That always stayed with me. So when I watch it now, I was like, yeah, the history repeated itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, this episode was, I know it's not the bombshell that everybody wanted. They wanted some deaths. They wanted people getting taken out there. But I think this is a perfect setup for next season, the final season, because that's going to be the one that's going to be explosive.
Yes. Listen, let me tell you, I went on social media right after this hit, and it's social media. It was divided, and it was a lot of people that was big mad, big mad on social media.
Yeah, because I think we were expecting somebody big to leave. I mean, not just you know.
Well, you ain't no bigger than Tina
whether they were gone or not. I mean, even they could have at least killed off Stefano. I mean, that was a pretty deep stab wound, and then the fact that he could have bled to death while on that bench, as far as I'm concerned, because nobody else would have been there. Huh?
Father Callahan. That's what I thought about that. How they did, how Drake did Father Callahan on the bench.
Exactly. Yeah, I think all of this stuff. I think they try not to give us too much too soon, and I think I do agree that Stefano was expendable in the show, but even that wouldn't have been as satisfying for a finale. Like, I think they wanted somebody major to go, and I think next season, like I said, they're gonna get they request. Couple other things happened. We seen at first when I seen Kanan go and talk to Crystal's stepfather. He was kind of like pressing him, like, "Oh, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything?" And I'm like, "Did you hear anything about what? Like, don't you?" I thought he wholeheartedly believes that Rock is behind that murder. So why are you pressing her stepdad for information?
I think he was trying to see if there was any opposing things out there to refute what he was feeling. And then I think when Garcia came through with the black woman thing, that sealed it. And like I said, Lou ain't help.
Right.
Lou might be on the hands list this week.
Right. Right. I just thought it was interesting that he was still questioning people about it, as if he was like, I really do think Rock did this, but I'm trying to, figure out if anybody else could give me something else.
Yes.
Giving his mother the benefit of the doubt, because and that's why I was a little upset at the fact that he just couldn't seem to wrap his head around what was really going on. You already found out through Lou what he had done, and now you're asking questions to people. So it seems that you're still confused.
But he knew Lou did it. Lou told him last season that he did it. When Lou was drunk and stuff, when they had that moment, Lou told him a season ago when Lou was totally against Rock and not speaking to Rock and stuff. He and Kanan had a moment a season ago, and he divulged to Kanan then that he was like, "Did you know that she made me do it?" So Kanan already knew that Lou did it. But he still blamed Rock because Rock made Lou do it.
Yeah, and he was like, "I did it."
Well, yeah, but he had that strange look on his face when Lou said, "I did it," and then he kind of looked at him as if he didn't know,
because he said, "I could have said no."
Yeah.
Lou also said, he said, "I have to live with that." He said, because I didn't, she told me to do it, but I didn't have to do it. I went through with it. And that's what he was saying. As men, he was like, we got to own our mistakes. And that's
accountability.
And take the weight. And that's what he was trying to convey to Kanan and stuff. But that's what I said. And I think he was getting to Kanan. Kanan was listening and stuff. But when he went there about Rock killing grandma, I was like,
oh. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about who can get the hands. Are y'all giving Lou the hands?
Yeah, I'm giving Lou the hands. I was with him. I was with Lou. I thought he was solid when they stood up with Unique. I was with him snatching up Vanessa and the baby because I'm like, Unique, you don't get to talk crazy and go at my family and think there ain't gonna be repercussions. So I was with Lou and Rilla. We saw Rilla in the car, driving the car, for snatching Vanessa and the baby up. But I am giving him the hands for telling that should have died with the grandmother. He should have never told Kanan that.
He didn't realize he didn't realize that it would cause then. And for all the good, it reminds me of Brutus and Julius Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
For the good that men do often goes interred with the bones, but the bad lives on forever. And you're going to let that one little thing That one little thing.
That one little thing got his sister stretched.
Well, okay.
That one little thing got his sister stretched. So next season, if we see that Rock is out of here for sure, then that's one of the reasons. There's one more reason.
That just made what was the inevitable quicker.
But he was getting to him. He was breaking through when he was talking to him about taking the weight and stuff. He was breaking through. But when he told him that she killed Grandma, that was too much. That was one more person. That was D-Wiz, Fame, Crystal.
Whatever.
Yeah. I think I gotta agree on that, Tiff, because that grandma thing ain't hit like he thought it was gonna hit.
No. Well, no, because he's 17. Like maybe if he said to a grown up like us, we would have understood. Like, oh wow, she did that. She took grandma.
If you were in that state of mind, it probably would have hit you.
It probably wouldn't, because I might, yeah.
I mean, but I'm still giving Jukebox the hands.
Okay, so you giving Jukebox the hands for telling.
Juke is on the hands, but Lou don't.
Lou was on point the whole episode.
He was on point until he told about Grandma.
But he didn't realize the.
That's why you got to read the room. You got to read the room. Mm-hmm. He came in there. Kanan was turned up. He rewatched that scene. He was turned up. He was talking crazy to Lou. He was like, "What you doing? Why are you working? Why are you by her side?" Yeah, he was worked up. So in that moment, you don't tell somebody who's in that space that their mama killed the grandma.
But you
right. Even if it was out of love and mercy and stuff, you don't tell them that.
You could not see that conversation with Kanan perhaps softening Kanan. I mean, think about it in the fashion that it was delivered. It wasn't delivered in the fashion for him to go after his mother.
No, but it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. It was delivered in the fashion of softening him up, understanding what or who his mother really is to the family. It was meant in that regard. Now, Kanan took it another way, and I can't blame Lou for how Kanan took a story that was meant to kind of soften him and have him understand who his mother really is.
No, I ain't blaming Lou.
But in your mind, Jukebox did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And she's cool. Like, what she did is cool.
Because
this some chauvinist stuff, Ron. Look, he putting Jukebox on the handbook for telling her boyfriend, telling her cousin. Unfortunately, we found Crystal and she was unalive. That's what she told her. She basically broke the news to him as his cousin. And you won't put her on the hands list and not put Lou on the hands list for telling his nephew that his mother, who he hates, killed his grandma.
Look, y'all decide which one of us is right.
Tell us in the comments.
I'm gonna leave that up to them. Because all I'm saying is that she was closest to Kanan, and if anybody had any ability to stop Kanan in his tracks, it would have been Jukebox.
She should get the hands, but I agree with you that she shouldn't have probably told him the way that she did.
But we didn't see the way that she did. When we saw the episode on, he was going off tearing up the apartment. So I think he probably just told her that she was found, that she was unalive. I think she probably broke the news. We don't know what she said.
Well, I'm not saying. When I say the way that she told him, I mean the fact that she came to him with news and no further details about who.
But we didn't know.
I know she don't know, but that's why I'm saying she should have held it until, or at least try to put some feelers out there to see.
But what if he heard from the street?
It's the word of
and Juke knew all the time. Wouldn't you want to hear news like that from someone who loves you? Like I would rather somebody who cares about me that's heard bad news tell me something to break it to me in a way, as opposed to being out in the street in a block and somebody saying, hey, they found they found or whatever. So I think she was.
And what does Jukebox get for all that? But for him to point a gun at her and tell her, if you ain't with me, you against me. So that's what I'm saying. You can't win with Kanan.
No, you can't. He wasn't in his right mind. That's why I said Lou should not have said that story.
Well, I got somebody for who can get the hands that I think we all will agree on. Garcia. He out here throwing out information to these children.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll say Jukebox ain't a child, but Kanan is still underage. Why are you putting this information out there to him? You ain't confirmed nothing. So if Rock does end up getting killed, Garcia is another person that can get blamed for it, for throwing that information out there and not having no kind of basis to go off of who it actually was.
I blame him before I blame anybody else in the show.
Well, I believe that too, because first off, I told y'all last episode I thought he was a terrible detective. I was like, he ain't detecting nothing. He was jumping to all types of conclusions, talking about Unique and Rock and Ronnie were all working together. Like he didn't have the answers. And so, and then he raises because clearly, the way he handled the situation with Fame, the way he handled her, Famous's mother and everything. He wouldn't have done that with anybody else if it was somebody wasn't a person of color. So the way he behaved with, it was callous. It was callous the way he behaved and stuff. And so, yeah.
Yep, Garcia gets the hands. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Unique on there too for talking crazy.
Yeah, Unique deserve it. He deserved it because he talked crazy to Rock. And maybe he'll find out in season 5, but it's interesting that he still didn't find out that Rock was pregnant by him.
Right.
One, so that he didn't get that information. And number 2, what's the other thing that didn't happen? I thought we would have seen a flashback of what happened to Famous. So I guess, episode 5 and them finding his body is
that's done.
I think they're done with it. We know the cops that did it. I'm gonna put Rock on the hands list this time for talking to Marvin the way she did.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna disagree with that.
No, she was talking to him crazy. That was like I felt bad for Marv, and I thought he was a real one for still like knocking it down when Juke asked him, like, do you think she killed Fame? And he was like, she wouldn't do that. And I'm like, dang, I said, Marvin is a real one because he was mad with her and she talked crazy to him and he still stood on business and said, nah, she wouldn't do that. Now
Marvin always stands on business. Even at the end of the episode, we see him go and check up with Amber, the little girl. She got I guess a new foster home or whatever. And Lou is keeping up with her. I'm sorry, Marvin is keeping up with her and being a man of his word. So I'm guessing that situation resolved itself too. But I'm like, Marvin, I know Rock berated him. She said he ain't trustworthy. She can't rely on him for nothing. He ain't ish. I'm like, Marvin, for all the things he does wrong, he's well intentioned most of the time. So I don't know.
Somebody said on Twitter, and it made me laugh because it is kind of true. They said we should have known Rock was getting popped when she was talking crazy to Marvin. Said she went out like Ghost did. Said because before Ghost got killed, Ghost was talking crazy to everybody.
Yep. Yeah. Of course, Snaps and Pops, they can stay on the Who Can Get the Hands list.
Yeah. They did all of this stuff. All of this. They need to go. That was the disappointing part that they didn't get their comeuppance, but I'm sure they're gonna get their comeuppance in season 5.
Yeah.
So game ball. Marvin.
This one's hard.
Marvin.
Because Marvin did kind of jack stuff up with Stefano in the first place. And that's the reason Stefano ultimately didn't want to work with them no more. So I'm like, you couldn't clean up your mess. I don't know about Marvin on that one. It's real tough. I don't have to stand out.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to tell you about the Breeze thing, while we was talking about the game ball, I don't know, maybe that's a game ball. The introduction of Breeze, because that was really anticipated. And
yes,
the one thing that Snap said about Breeze that for me conflicts with what Kanan said about Breeze and OG Power. Snap said he's a scholar and a visionary.
Right.
And Kanan said, and OG said that Breeze was strong, but he was that he wasn't smart. So I was like, And I said that to my son. I was like, that doesn't, what Snapping him said doesn't square with what Kanan said. And I was like, unless, that is his.
Well, being a scholar, being book smart ain't the same as being street smart.
Well, yeah, and then my son was like, "Well, we don't know if Kanan was lying to read. I mean, he was messing with
his head, yeah.
So he could have been lying. And number two, Snaps and Pops, those are that's his nephew. Family. So they gonna say wonderful things about their nephew,
right? Yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing Breeze's role in this whole mess that's going on with Kanan and this family. I mean, I enjoyed the finale. I'm not mad at it. I don't know about y'all, but I'm looking forward to
I'm looking for season 5. I mean, looking forward to it. Yeah, Raising Kanan is my favorite out of the PowerBooks. No, we should say that, but I'm saying it. It is my favorite out of the PowerBook. So I always look forward to a new season. Yeah, I know it's a lot of feedback online though, but
Okay. Well, this has been a really good discussion. I want to thank all the viewers out there for watching. Please drop down in the comment section. Give us your thoughts on this finale episode, as well as any predictions you have for the 5th and final season. Also, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click that notification bell. We have so many other shows that we are recapping that you can follow with us. We're doing The Shy. We're also doing the Godfather of Harlem. There's a plethora of shows coming back in the very near future. So please continue. If you like BMF, if you like Force, we got the final seasons of both of those shows. So make sure you're subscribed and tapped in with us, and that notification bell is on. Also follow us on all of our social media platforms at The Spot Real Talk. Keep up with us, comment, and have some conversations with us. We love, engaging with our viewers and stuff like that. Also, be sure to invite your friends and family. They're going to miss out on some good conversation. If you like these shows and if you like going in depth and arguing with us, then please make sure you invite your friends and family to join and be a part of the Spotters. Ron, Tiff, y'all got anything else?
Yes, I just want to say, thank you to the cast and crew of Raising Kanan for this season. We enjoyed it, and I want to thank the cast that we had a chance to interview this season too, especially Patina Miller. If you're not coming back to Raising Kanan, you've done a wonderful job as Rock, and I hope the Emmy rewards her for her performance. Thank you, Makai Curtis, Sasha Penn, Joey Badass, London Brown, all of you for interviewing with The Spot this season.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen those interviews, check out our playlist of interviews. You can catch those in that playlist tab. Ron, you got anything?
Yes, one other thing. And Patina, in spite of your disagreement with what I said earlier before the season started, I called it vulnerabilities, and it has been vulnerable all the way up to the end. Vulnerabilities is the word.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys cleared that up.
That's off my chest.
All right. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you are back with us. We'll be again next. Well, I guess we'll have another drop in a few days with Godfather or Harlem recaps, as well as The Shy. If you haven't seen our recap for The Shy, that's already up right now. So check that out. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.